Baghdad shattered to pieces. Good evening. Hong Kong has had its warmest Lunar New Year's Day on record. The observatory says the mercury hit 25.3 degrees Celsius this afternoon, beating the previous record set in 1982. But as Penny Tang reports, the unusual warmth didn't get in the way of traditional celebrations as the territory welcomed the Year of the Pig.
A traditional way to usher in the new year. New Territory's villagers again flouted the territory-wide ban on firecrackers. Many believe the sound of bangers can ward off evil spirits of the past year. On the first day of the Lunar New Year, Lam Chun in Tai Po is a popular destination with both tourists and locals alike. Here at the Wishing Tree, people are hoping the wishes they make in the Year of the Pig all come true.
All people's good luck.
How about for yourself?
Myself, earn more money. Everybody, good health and good wish.
People can no longer lob their wish lists onto the tree after some branches snapped under the weight of offerings a couple of years ago. Instead, visitors hang paper placards on the wooden racks nearby.
The feel is not very well, like a few years before, but it's fine, no problem. Because like the tree, get the wheel rest, and after a few years we can float again.
Still, vendors complain that as a result, takings are down significantly. The observatory says today has been the warmest Lunar New Year's Day on record. The mercury hit 25.3 degrees, beating a quarter-of-a-century record of 24.6 degrees. Many people were dressed in short sleeves today as a warm, humid maritime airstream affects Hong Kong. And despite the mild climbs, Mickey and friends were decked out in thick festive garb over at Disneyland. While it was crowded, there was none of the chaos of last year when ticket holders failed to get into the amusement park as it struggled to cope with capacity crowds. Meantime, many people chose to take a spin of fortune by leaving Hong Kong for a short break. The airport was crammed with travellers prepared to pay up to double last year's price for a package tour. Leading travel agencies say they have more than 1,000 tour groups leaving the territory during the festive period. Penny Tang, TVB News.
And one of the holiday's highlights took place this evening. The annual Lunar New Year Parade in Tsim Sha Tsui drew tens of thousands of people who jammed the streets of TST for a glimpse of floats and performances. Regina De Luna takes a look.
Color, music, dance. Spectators were treated to a colorful array of floats from across the globe. This year's theme, Celebrate World Party Hong Kong. For 1.5 hours, 13 floats and 15 international performance groups entertained the crowd as they made their way through the streets of Tsim Sha Tsui. Performers came from Japan, the US, New Zealand, and as far away as South Africa. Many local floats, including one from the Hong Kong Tourism Board and from Nong Ping 360, also featured in this year's parade. But it was the out-of-towners that dazzled, including this handmade float from the Tourism Authority of Thailand, which sported 4 golden lions and 4 golden geese. The parade wrapped up with the traditional dragon dance. A truly festive way to spend the first day of the Year of the Pig. Regina De Luna, TVB News.
Year of the Pig celebrations began early in Hong Kong. Worshippers flocked to the Wong Tai Sin Temple, and thousands of people visited fairs and markets last night to buy New Year's gifts. Police said their crowd control methods proved effective and events passed without any serious problems. Emma Jones reports.
Dozens of worshippers gathered outside Wong Tai Sin Temple with their incense sticks at the ready. At the stroke of midnight, they rushed inside, all eager to light the first incense stick of the new year. Hopes and prayers were high for the Year of the Pig. This lady said she was wishing for good luck and health for her family and hopes for a prosperous year ahead for the whole society. Some visitors brought gloves and goggles for protection from the smoke and flames. Workers at the temple were run off their feet, having to clear away the burnt incense sticks every few minutes. Police Commissioner Tang King-shing said he was pleased the crowds were orderly and well managed at the various New Year's events he visited. And throughout the night, a sea of people flooded the flower fair at Victoria Park. Inflatable pigs made the biggest impression. Vendors kept their businesses open well into the night to clear out their stock. Some chose to slash their prices for an easier sale. And with the Lunar New Year came the new bundles of joy. At Baptist Hospital, a first arrival in the Year of the Pig was a boy weighing 7 pounds. He was born at midnight to Mr. and Mrs. Cheng. The first baby girl of the new year was also born at midnight in Queen Elizabeth Hospital to Mr. and Mrs. Ng. She weighed in at 7.5 pounds. Emma Jones, TVB News.
At least 125 people have been injured from fireworks during New Year's celebrations in Beijing. It's the second year that firecrackers have been allowed to be set off in the capital after a long-standing ban was eased. Regina De Luna reports.
Beijing residents kept up the noisy tradition of setting off firecrackers since its comeback 2 years ago. While residents are only allowed to set them off in certain parts of the city for half an hour on New Year's Eve, fireworks lit the night sky well into the early hours of the morning. At least 125 people suffered fireworks-related injuries. Police blame the injuries on shoddy firecrackers that have flooded into the capital this year. In Taiwan, a visit to the temple could be just as dangerous, especially if you choose to join the throngs of people wanting to be among the first to put their incense in. Former KMT chairman Ma Ying-jeou set aside his recent political troubles to join other worshippers at a temple in the northeastern part of the island. He later returned to Taipei to hand out Lai Si packets to a huge crowd. President Chen Shui-bian chose to usher in the new year in his hometown in the south of the island. There was a 1-kilometer queue for the presidential Lai Si. Some people started queuing as early as 8 days ago for a red packet that contained 10 Taiwan dollars. Lunar New Year festivities kicked off around Macau's main landmarks: firecrackers and lion dances filled the enclave as Macau residents and visitors alike ushered in the Year of the Pig. Regina De Luna, TVB News.
Other news now. 8 U.S. troops were killed and 14 injured when a military helicopter crashed today in southeastern Afghanistan after reporting engine failure. The CH-47 Chinook helicopter had a sudden, unexplained loss of power and control and crashed, a coalition statement said. U.S. and Afghan military blocked reporters from entering the crash site. A spokesman for NATO's International Security Assistance Force said he was confident the crash was not caused by enemy fire. Mayhem and carnage once again in the Iraqi capital of Baghdad tonight. 3 car bombs exploded in quick succession in mainly Shiite areas of Baghdad today, killing at least 56 people and wounding scores, as militants defied a military offensive by U.S. and Iraqi troops. The blasts occurred just 2 days after Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki had trumpeted what he called the brilliant success of Operation Imposing Law in reducing violence in the capital since it was formally launched on Wednesday. The initial success, however, did nothing to calm the political battle over the war which is being waged in the U.S. Congress. James LaGilia reports.
Bloodshed was down in Baghdad as air and ground forces blanketed the city. U.S. and Iraqi troops carried out random searches as part of the continuing joint operation to quell violence in the capital. The massive show of force had just begun, but Operation Imposing Law was showing early results. Killings had dropped by 80%, and the Iraqi army claimed to have discovered 50 Russian-made surface-to-air missiles.
Washington, D.C., February
In Washington, there was more welcome news for the White House. Senate Republicans foiled the Democratic bid to repudiate President George W. Bush's deployment of 21,500 additional combat troops. The 56-34 vote fell short of the 60 needed to advance a non-binding measure, identical to the one the House of Representatives passed on Friday.
For those who voted to block debate to protect President Bush, Americans now know they want to stay a failed course in Iraq. They want more of the same. They support escalation. The Senate is not done with this issue.
It's not indeed. Senator Hillary Clinton, the early front-runner for the Democratic presidential nomination, has called for a 90-day deadline to start pulling American troops out of Iraq. If that doesn't happen, she wants Congress to revoke authorization for the war. James LaGiulia, TVB News.
Russian authorities have confirmed outbreaks of the deadly H5N1 strain of bird flu in 2 villages outside Moscow. Poultry farms in the area are under tight control. All birds which had contact with the infected poultry will be culled, and strict sanitary measures are in place. As a precaution, people who had contact with the more than 30 dead birds have been admitted to hospital for observation. This is the second reported bird flu outbreak in Russia this year. The first one was in the southern region of Krasnodar last month. Well, in sports, it'll be China versus Jamaica in the final of the Lunar New Year Cup. Hong Kong will play for third place after losing to the Jamaicans 5-3 on penalties. Jamaica took the lead against Hong Kong before halftime. Fabian Taylor with a beautifully placed header, 1-0 Jamaica. The team now coached by Bora Milutinovic, who guided China to its first World Cup finals. The Hong Kong League 11 had a chance to equalize on a long-range strike by P.T. Mann. However, the goalkeeper just managed to get a hand on the ball. But 10 minutes from time, the home side tied the game. Keith Jerome Gooms with the last touch. The ball appeared to bounce off his thigh in front of the goal. The game went to a shootout, and the Jamaicans were a perfect 5 for 5, while Hong Kong's third attempt was blocked. Match 2, China versus the Socceroos, and everyone watching to see how the Chinese squad would respond after its recent brawl in London with the Queen's Park Rangers. A physical game, 4 yellow cards for Australia, 3 for China. And after an own goal, China sealed the game 5 minutes from time with a Jian Ning bullet to the back of the net. China won 2-0 to set up a meeting with former coach Mi Lu. And the weather, a maximum temperature of 22 degrees overnight. Outlook humid with mist on the third day.